I want to share with you how a seemingly ordinary walk to Trader Joe's on a random Sunday morning with my beautiful partner seems mind bogglingly amazing. Like, honestly, there are days that I just cannot believe that this is my life. I was raised in a religious community that literally taught that God had handmade Adam and Eve, and they had planned each of them to be very distinctively different because of their gender. Adam, of course, was a real man, masculine and rugged, and Eve was a tradwife, like the OG tradwife. And it was because of this teaching and a lifetime of others and reinforcement from the community in which I lived with the examples of my mom and grandmas and aunt, neighbor ladies who went to church with us, that I thought my whole entire life was supposed to be about cooking and cleaning and being a wife and a mom. And that is what I did for 44 years as an oldest daughter, taking care of my younger brothers and sister, and then 24 years in Mormon tradwife hell. So after my marriage fell apart and I started dating again and fell in love with this guy right here, I quickly fell right back into the same tradwife habits that I had just escaped. I did all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the everything except for taking care of myself and providing an income for me and my kid. And guess what? I found myself just as unhappy with this amazing man as I had been with the jerk I had spent 24 years with. And as a child, I was exhausted, isolated, frustrated, stuck in a rut, and honestly just so sick of doing laundry and groceries. And then now I had stepkids. In a nutshell, my tradwife habits were sucking the life out of me. So one day we had a little intervention, thanks to a very good therapist who saw the writing on the wall. I sat down with this beautiful partner and said, what if I'm just not tradwifey at all? And we spent the next couple of weeks carefully restructuring all of our household responsibilities and duties within our relationship. We intentionally ignored both our genders and our experience, deciding that just because I've been cooking for 50 years and I'm really good at it, that doesn't mean that I have to. We decided on a schedule that made sense. And once we had it all penciled out, we put this into action. So here I am on a Sunday morning, and it's Kevin's turn to cook breakfast. He invited me to walk to Trader Joe's with him, where he knew where all of the items were, and he is whipping up breakfast for the whole family. We call this the Kevin Special, and it's so good. I want to show you exactly how we schedule our meal planning and just how simple it is. And it's funny that such a simple thing could completely change my day-to-day life. Welcome to our family calendar. I'm going to grab this off the fridge. We have 2 days that I cook dinner, 2 days that Kev cooks dinner, and then 2 days that everybody's just on their own. So here's how we do it. We divide it up equally where I get 2 days, Kev gets 2 days. There's 2 days that everybody's on their own, and then 1 day that the kids cook. My kids are older, so obviously this makes sense for us. And my 21-year-old college daughter, who is one of the kids, has her culinary arts degree. So the kids' night is always like grade A chef quality. So here's last week. Kids, Jenny, on your own. Kev, on your own, Jenny. We haven't calendared out the whole week. I cooked yesterday for Veterans Day. Today we have leftovers. So tomorrow is actually my freest day. So we're going to go Jenny tomorrow. Kevin has a thing Thursday night. So we're going to do on your own on Thursday. Friday night is going to be a Kev night again. And again, he can like take me out to dinner or he can cook. And then we're going to do kids Saturday this week. So now everybody knows exactly what to expect. And no, I don't do all the grocery shopping. Kevin goes to the store and buys the ingredients that he needs for his food. Kev is also responsible for taking the kids to the store to buy the stuff that they need. Because of this system, which is, it was an initial conversation of the domestic labor should not be assumed to be mine, even though I am a cook and really good at cooking. You are not too old to learn how to cook. And so we had that initial conversation we determined what would be a good division of labor. So we have it split equally, 2 nights for Kevin, 2 nights for me, 1 night for the kids, 2 on your own. And then it takes just a little bit of organizing to get all the grocery shopping done and just literally writing it out on the calendar. This has absolutely changed my life because now I have multiple nights a week that I'm not responsible for the shopping or the preparation of food that I can work. I can write on my book. I can produce social media content. I can also do things that I need to take care of myself, like go for a jog, watch the sunset, do yoga, sit down and read a book and just let my brain chill for a minute. So by taking myself out of the unpaid labor force, I now have the freedom of time to generate income, which is extremely necessary for providing for our family. And that's the main reason that we redivided the labor like this. But there's also a lot of unexpected perks. Like Kev and the kids really bond over like going out to the grill on a Saturday night and grilling. We're all experiencing a wider variety of food because Kevin cooks really different stuff than my kind of like boring ho-hum repertoire. And the kids come up with all kinds of fancy new recipes that I would never even think of. They each have their own little Pinterest boards, So my 15-year-old son and I had a conversation about it a couple weeks after we had started this new program. And I just asked him how it was going. It's like, do you feel like you're confident in taking care of yourself on those nights? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that if the kids decide that they don't want to cook for themselves on the on your own nights, OYOs, then they can ask to be taken to an affordable restaurant. So we'll take them to Chipotle or like Cane's or McDonald's if they absolutely have to. So they get a budget for the night that they're on your own. We don't expect them to just totally scrounge. And if they don't have a car, like Brody's only 15, Delaney's only 14, then we will drive them to where they want to be taken on those 2 nights. But anyway, so I asked my son, like, how's it going? Do you feel like you're confident in the kitchen and like you're eating just as well as when mom cooked everything? And my son said that he was so much happier now because instead of just coming home and like, oh, good, it's taco night. I'm not in the mood for tacos, but mom's been prepping these homemade tacos all day. He's finally able to just pick what he wants to eat. And he actually talks about the decades that I spent as a Mormon tradwife making absolutely everything from scratch, which was just like I was still making all of our food until just a couple months ago. This is really fresh for us. He talks about that time as like being controlled, being tortured, being forced to eat things when he wasn't in the mood. He's like, you have no idea how many times I already had pizza for lunch at school. And then I'd come home and you're like, oh, sourdough pizza crust, getting ready for dinner. So it's like a 2 pizza day. And I think the obvious perk of doing this is that my kids and my partner are learning self-reliance. Like when Kevin and I first met, I'm going to rat him out here. He didn't know how to fry an egg. He was actually really good at a lot of things in the kitchen, but there were some basics that because he was a boy and he was working on the farm, he just hadn't learned how to do. So even as like a grown adult man, he's learned all kinds of kitchen skills that he didn't have a couple years ago. And here's my biggest takeaways from all of this. Number one, gender doesn't determine what human beings are capable of doing. Women aren't any better in the kitchen than men. My partner doesn't love me any less because I'm not in the kitchen taking care of him in the way that I used to think I had to be in order to earn love. Our relationship is still just as solid as ever. And I think my biggest takeaway of all is that I was actually preventing the other members of my family from being self-reliant and growing and developing in all of those like female, air quote, female household responsibilities because I assumed all of them. It's actually amazing and like gives us goosebumps to see our younger kids come into the kitchen, whip stuff up and put together these masterpieces. I'll put a couple pictures of meals that my kids have made recently. They're like gourmet and they're sitting there at the table, like taking pictures and Snapchatting all their friends. Like, look at the gourmet udon noodles that I made for dinner tonight. By doing everything, I was actually robbing my kids of that. Lastly, I guess another real obvious benefit is that I now have the time to generate income and provide for myself and have financial security independent of my romantic partner. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. And you will find the link to our January Manproof Your Life waitlist in the description.